Okay, so it is 5:15 on Monday, March 24th, so I'll call to order this meeting of the New Ulm Human Rights Commission. The first item on the agenda is the approval of minutes from the February 24th meeting. They are attached. I'll let everybody review them and let me know if there are questions or comments or changes. Anybody have any questions, changes, comments, or anything? If there aren't any changes, I would entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
So move.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? On all approved, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That motion passes. The next is the review of the budget, which is also attached. We did receive a carryover of $1,100 from the 2024 budget. So right now we're at $7,150, which is our 100% of our budget. We do have the plaques which were purchased, which do not appear on here. But otherwise we have most of our budget remaining. Any questions on the budget? Next is the Events Committee. A couple items for that. The first one is the Human Rights Award. The ceremony is scheduled for this Wednesday, March 26th at 6 p.m. at the Community Center. We invite everybody in the commission to come. We are going to have the people who nominated the recipients are going to read their nominations. The recipients are going to say a little bit. We'll have refreshments. The journal should be there. We did put a press release out. Well, does anybody have any questions? So, just like to see everybody there if they're available. It should not be a very long ceremony, but yeah, it should be good. Second item is the Forum on Immigration Concerns. So there was a subcommittee meeting that was rescheduled to meet on April 1st. So then we'll come back to the next Human Rights Commission meeting with what we've discussed on that. Need to reach out and make some more inquiries, and then we'll meet and kind of go forward from there. I don't have anything else on events. And then the Education Committee report. Education Subcommittee plans to meet on March 31st to discuss the distribution of the community surveys and the options to replace the poster essay video contest. Does anybody have any additional comments on that?
Is the survey completed and available to review?
We didn't gather it for this month. I think the thought, and I wasn't at the last meeting, was to kind of figure out what the plan is to go forward as people are taking that survey. But the survey was put out in a press release. I haven't gone in and reviewed if we've gotten any more responses. So we can make that available to the Education Subcommittee too. I can send Lisa a link to the responses, and then we can go from there.
Okay.
Anything else? Then we're on to other business. So the community supporting family well-being event that's sponsored by the Department of Children, Youth, and Families. We were not selected to receive a grant. I know that information was not available at our previous meeting. We were going to partner with Park and Rec for their open house event on April 6th at the Rec Center. Kind of with me not being at the last meeting and then us not getting in the grant, we never really had an opportunity, and I apologize for personal reasons. I really didn't have time in the last couple of weeks to do much with this. So at this point, since the event is so close, we're not going to be able to partner with them. So it's something we could look at for next year and just keep it on our radar. Like I said, we didn't receive the sponsorship, so that made it kind of difficult to move forward. Sarah had sent the contact on to me, and I had a family emergency, and I just was not able to deal with it, so my apologies. Then next, Braille on the city bus stop signs. Carl, do you have a report on that?
Yeah, I talked to a couple of the folks affiliated with Herman Express, and right now they don't have the capacity to put the Braille letters and information on one of their signs that they have posted on a post near the bus stop. What is feasible for them to do, perhaps, is to look into the expense of putting their pamphlet material in Braille so that that would be available to the public and those who need Braille writing to interpret the information. That's an expense they'll look into, like I said, and depending upon their budget. And perhaps what we would react to in terms of need, if we know of a need for it, they will look into it. I'm not sure of the number of folks in the community that read Braille and would find that information useful. They do have a number, of course, of other sources where people can get the information regarding the bus routes and the times of the routes. And it's available by phone or by technology on web pages. And if they have devices that read their screens to them, they should be able to access that information. But they seem very helpful and willing to, partner with us and even send a speaker here to one of our meetings if we should want to explore that the Braille issue further with them. And I told the manager of the system that we would be in touch with them after our meeting if we felt that that would be something we'd like to have them come to and speak with us about that. The Herman Express is an operation of the city run by the county, so it's kind of a system where the city funds it. They get the grant through this federal government, state government, and the city fund the program, and they've come to an agreement with the county to operate it and staff it and manage the staff and the routes and do the maintenance on the vehicles. So we're dealing with them, and they're hoping to expand the service, dependent upon, of course, getting additional grant funding. But if there is a concern about making Braille available, they'll certainly willing to look at it and go forward with a limited production of pamphlets in Braille.
Thanks for looking into that, Carl. I know you don't want to generalize about any populations, but generally speaking, are there a lot of sight impaired people that use the technology to help with things like that? Is that readily available to a lot of people that have difficulty with seeing?
I use it, and if I can kind of figure that out, I'm kind of a Luddite with technology, but I think it's easily available. I think there's software programs for PCs and laptops. There's certainly technology on our smartphones that you can employ that does read the screens. So and I think generally speaking, the people I know who, through service dog training and some folks in town here, that they all are able to use it, available technology to gain certain kinds of information.
Okay.
A follow-up on that is, I'm not familiar with it either. Is there a way, by using their devices, that they could speak into it and say, tell me when I get to the bus stop 5 or whatever? I haven't taken the buses here. And so I think that was part of my concern when I brought the whole issue up, was the idea of, is there a way to have them know that they arrived at the correct corner where the bus is going to stop? Is there some sound or
There is
something?
some, yeah, some, I think the Maps app on a cell phone has walking as well as driving navigation features. I have a couple of apps on my phone called, it's where you can open up the app and it opens up your camera and it links you into some other source and they can read to you what's in front of you, called My Eyes, I think is the name of
Okay.
the
Okay.
app.
And so the bus stops would be in that?
Well, they would give you the location, you know, they could read if you could, I don't know, you could scan around with your phone, look and see if it will land on, say, the bus stop sign or the post on the corner that tells you what intersections you're at.
Okay.
Sometimes you know, if you don't have those features, you can certainly ask people that you may pass by while you're walking through the site. Generally, you'll want to have an idea ahead of time where you're going
Right.
and have
okay.
that orientation. And so if you know where you're starting from and know where you're going to want to go to,
Okay.
that's kind of a method that I know I employ.
Okay.
So
Okay.
there is also the Heartland Express, which is a system, and if they don't want to use the bus, if they find that too imposing, that they can call and be picked up
Right.
at their place of residence.
Okay.
So there's some options available to folks that, if they want to use the public transportation. And they also have an advisory committee that meets twice a year that, you know, are open to the public if there are certain issues that you know, the community members want to explore with the folks on that transportation advisory committee.
Thanks.
So if we want to continue to explore the options to do some limited pamphlets in Braille, would we reach out to them, or is it just kind of information you gathered, or do we think it would be valuable to ask to continue to partner with them on that?
I think it would be to their advantage to have at least a certain number of pamphlets available in Braille. And he said they could do that. You'd have to go to a printer and, you know, see what their minimum number of pamphlets would be if they have a limit, you know, minimum production of a pamphlet and what that would cost to do in Braille. And then they'd have that available at certain spots like the library or city hall, at human services, or wherever they have other pamphlets located. And if they would to do a trial run of, say, 100 or whatever that minimum is, see what kind of response they get from it. But I think it's useful to have it available.
Okay.
So if there is an agreement here, I will certainly be willing to call a staff person back tomorrow and have them pursue looking into that a little bit further.
I know this wasn't originally why you contacted them, but it just kind of sprung to mind. I don't know if this was a question that came up, but do they offer like their brochure in other languages too, so that it's available for like a Spanish speaking person? Did that come up?
That didn't come up, and
Okay,
that's certainly a question that can be asked. I
sure.
don't know, my wife picked up the pamphlet today at the library, so I don't know if they have other pamphlets there in other languages.
Mm-hmm.
But I certainly will find out the answer to that.
Thank you very much for getting that information and for being willing to continue to communicate with them for us.
Mhm.
Do we have a motion to continue pursuing this?
I'll motion to continue pursuing it.
Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second that motion.
Do we have any discussion, any further discussion? Okay, all approve, say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. that motion passes. Carl will reach back out and we'll just continue on. Next we'd have the legislative update. We don't have anything specific listed on this update. I know there were a couple of things brought forward at the previous meeting just to kind of keep an eye on. I don't know if anybody has anything additional. Okay. Then next is the city council liaison. So that's Ally. Do you have a report?
I do not have anything to report.
Okay. And her term was January, February, March. So we'll need a volunteer for April, May, June. So you just have to watch. You can attend if you would like the city council meetings and then report back on anything that is relevant to the Human Rights Commission or anything that we would want to bring to this commission's attention.
Sorry, where do you find, is there a link? Because I know you can watch it back if you missed it. How do you get access to it?
Just on YouTube.
Oh, YouTube, City
Yep.
Council, New Ulm
Yep.
City Council. Okay,
Yep.
how long are they usually?
This last one was like an hour and a half, but
Okay.
usually they're around 45 to. And there's also like a transcript underneath you can just like
Okay.
read through as well.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I'll do it.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
And they meet once a month as well, I assume?
First and third Tuesday.
Twice a month,
Oh, twice
but
a
I have
month.
to always look it up. Yeah, it's twice a month.
Okay.
Okay. I guess that brings us to the date of our next meeting, which is Monday, April 28th. So if there's no other comments, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
I do have a question.
Oh, go
You
ahead.
guys went through a lot in 5 minutes. before.
Yeah, it was pretty quick.
But no, my question was, I saw about the subcommittees, and I wasn't at the last meeting. Was there an email sent out about what subcommittees we ended up
Yes,
landing
correct.
on?
Yep,
It
yes.
was.
So yeah,
Okay.
you should have gotten an email if you were on either of the subcommittees, because remember the events committees are broken up this time.
Yeah.
So
Okay, I'll
yeah,
have to look for that.
yeah, Lisa would send an email for each subcommittee. So I know there's a education subcommittee meeting coming up on the 31st, and then an events meeting coming up on the 1st.
So my understanding is we get all of the subcommittee meeting invites regardless. So I actually asked her if there was a way to specify which education,
Oh, good.
sorry,
Events.
events subcommittee. So that's
Yeah,
the.
because I was
It
kind
is
of confused
confusing,
about that as
yeah.
Yeah,
well.
yeah, so
Because
that's
I
why
didn't think I was on
she
events, but
specified
I
out
was.
here, it's gonna be either HRC sponsored events or, I don't remember what the other verbiage was, but basically events that we're involved in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then finally, I'm not gonna be here on the 28th in terms of like reporting back for the city council, so I won't be here. on that
Okay,
one.
that's fine. Totally fine. And then actually, before we have a motion to adjourn, I'll just replug a reminder that the Human Rights Award ceremony is this Wednesday at 6 p.m. at the community center. So if you're able to come, it's a really great event, and representation from the commission would be great. Any other questions, comments?
I do have one
discussion?
for
Yeah.
clarification. You indicated that we're not collaborating with the Park and Rec for their April 6th event.
Correct. The intention was originally to try and get that grant and help partner. We were not given the grant, and at the last meeting, a motion was passed to still partner, but nothing was ever done. And I got an email from Sarah 2 weeks ago, just giving me the contact information. My dad passed away, and so I was sort of dealing with that. And my error, I just didn't follow through.
I just
So
want to
I
make sure I don't
apologize.
show up down there that
Yeah.
unless I want to be a part of it as an individual.
Oh, yeah.
Privately, I
Yes.
don't need to go down there on behalf of the HRC.
Correct. And I will reach out to them tomorrow and just, follow up and say, I'm sorry, we didn't follow up and close the loop on that, but we didn't get the grant. And they did know we didn't get the grant, so it's not like they were waiting for that grant money or for us to, provide additional things. It was just that we were going to try and still partner with them, but just, I should have reached out. So again, my error, but
Okay.
You're fine.
next time. So yes, that's why we're not participating as a commission.
Fine. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Any other questions? All right, with that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn. So moved. Second? Any other discussion? All approve, say aye. Opposed, same sign. And this meeting is adjourned. Thank you all.